I've told the players that they're privileged to play for you.
I've drummed it into our players time and again that they are privileged to play for you.
Was you there on that day when he gave that speech in front of thousands of fans after the FA Cup final?
Yes, at St George's Hall. Yeah, I was indeed, yeah. There's a funny story about that because in the course of that speech, he wanted to refer to Chairman Mao because we're all together, and he couldn't remember the guy's name. Now, Brian Hall, a very clever guy, university graduate, he was standing almost next to Shanks. He said, "What's the name of that?" And he said, "You mean Chairman Mao?" "Yes, Chairman Mao said all the people must work together, and that's what you and I do." And honestly, Peter Robinson was standing behind, and Peter said to me a few days later, if Bill Shankly had told that crowd to storm through the Mersey Tunnel and seize Birkenhead, they'd have done it. It was ultimate power over people. He did have that. Either en masse or even individually, when you spoke to him, he had an aura, he was cloaked in this charisma, and he had a stance as well. He was magnetic. He was a magnetic personality.
That iconic photo of him on the steps in front of the adoring fans, you know, they say that there's many other Shankly quotes that we can all, well, probably yourself can recite much better than I ever could, when he talks about it being a religion. This is their religion, this is where they come.
That's right, yeah. Bastion of invincibility was another of his great... But the thing about Bill was he would rehearse his lines and his gags every day, going from Anfield to Melwood for the training, as they did. He used to have Joe Fagan, Bob, Ronnie Moran in the car, and he'd rehearse some lines, some funny lines mostly, and if they laughed, he'd deliver them to the media later. If they didn't, he'd come up with something else. That's what he did. He, like in best comic tradition, he rehearsed his ad-libs, which is wonderful, you know, which is great. And he had a line every day. Every day he went to a press conference with Bill, he had a line, and he didn't have to come out saying, "I wonder what the line is today," because he would provide it, you know. It was amazing. And the other thing about Merseyside football, Liverpool and Everton, is that press conferences began in this city. There were no pre-match press conferences. What happened used to be that the two clubs would ring Don Kendall. Now, Don Kendall was the press association man on Merseyside, and they would ring him with the teams and he would give them out to the media. That was it. That was all there was. So we approached the two managers, Harry Catterick and Bill Shankly, to say, could we see you the day before games to talk about the squad, any injuries, what he thought about the game. And they were, well, particularly Shanks was very for it. Harry didn't like the media. He was very secretive, and that was not as successful as it should have been. But with Bill, it was superb, and it carried on right through, you know.